Uh, it's my pleasure to talk about the expense in the supply chain. Uh, Definitely, I'm being influenced by the automotive industry because I have worked with automotive industry for last 12 to 14 years. So whatever we are going to talk about here, it will definitely have influence about the automotive industry. Just to talk about a typical supply chain in any automotive industry. So the supply chain or the logistics comprises of ensuring the material produced by the supplier reaches to the point of fit. We call this point of fit or point of the consumption. And there are various elements in between this the logistics. If you look at there are various methods of collecting the part from the vendors. Like we can do the consolidation, milk run, and bring it in the smaller trucks, and have a consolidation facility at the outstation locations. Then bring it in the line haul trucks to the plant. Or as an alternative, we can bring it in dedicated collections to the plant. This is only one portion of the logistics, bringing material from supplier until the plant. Once you bring in, this part has to go through various processes inside the plant. Like the kitting, it has to get into the kitting, then sequencing, then it's going to line feeding. So just to give an intro about the kitting and sequencing. We all know that the operator time in any assembly line is very precious. How you utilize the operator time, that determines your plant overall output. So in order to help the operator to do things faster, we do give the parts in a kitted condition. Like unlike like if you have 5 different parts together, you don't give it in 5 different packages. You give it in one package comprising of 5 different parts put together, so that his movement is limited and he can fit the things easily to any of the automotive. So this is the whole idea, and in general, this comprises kitting, sequencing, and line feeding. So the critical design decisions will be how do we present the parts to the line. So I said the kitting. All the parts cannot be presented in kit condition to the operator because there are bigger parts which definitely you can't do the kitting. But you have other methodologies like sequencing. Like you can sequence based on your production. Like how do you go? Like you have product A, product B, product C running in the line. So accordingly, you can kit the sequence the parts and fit it to the operator. So line set presentation is one thing which to be decided. And how do you call the parts from the intermediate stores as well as from the supplier? So that's a very critical thing. Like you have option. You can either call the parts based on the replenishment method or based on the forecast method. So like this, there are various design parameters involved here, so which we are going to talk about in the subsequent slides. If you talk about how the industry moving towards, the trend in the industry. One is, there used to be a scenario where 3PL will be called and given the logistics activity in bits and pieces. Like either they'll be given a transportation portion or they'll be given a manpower supportability or on the warehousing portion. But the OEMs are looking towards outsourcing the end-to-end activity going forward. That's the trend here. And they started involving the 3PLs from the project designing stage itself. That means their plant design itself. Then subsequently, today we have blessed with more and more IT tool in terms of simulations and design validation. Especially that applies to supply chain designs also. And definitely with having so much of tools and requirement, definitely the designs are subjected to cost pressures. And also we have to eliminate the NVA from the day of the design itself. Like we do have practice of improving certain things on continuous basis. We call it continuous improvement. But in the current scenario, all this past learning has to be brought into the design aspect itself. That's the scenario on industry and moving forward. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't explain. So 3PL is third-party logistics service providers. And OEM is original equipment manufacturer. It could be like any car manufacturer or a assembly manufacturer. It could be that way. Enemy is a non-value added activity. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I have used certain terminology. I will explain as we go forward. Okay, we said how the trend is changing. But again, it's not the 3PL which is going to design the entire the logistics or the supply chain involved here. Here, if you look at any manufacturing plant or any automotive plant will have two components. So one is the manufacturing facilities, which will have their own paint shop, paint booths, or machining shop, or those kind of facility. And logistics will be a portion of the entire design. As a 3PL, we cannot influence their overall design altogether, but what we can help them is to seamlessly integrate the logistics, like we call it as external logistics, like how the trucks to be bought in, how the warehouse layout can be done, what the manpower we can automate, those kind of things. This is the external logistics. Definitely, we can seamlessly integrate external logistics with the internal logistics requirement. So this is a continuous process from the design stage where OEM works with the 3PL, and there are a lot of checkpoints. Like if I do a combination of X, what is the cost? If I do combination of B, like that, various options are explored, which will definitely comprise of logistic cost, metal handling equipment, MH adequacy, and manpower requirement, space, and impact on the inventory, and definitely the risk coverage in terms of stock out or the production stoppage. Like I said, the design consideration. Definitely, we have been given with a lot of options. If you break the entire logistics into different buckets, we call it as buckets, like how do you do the lines representation? You have various options. For any part, whether you want to give it in kit, or you want to give it in sequence, or you want to give it in direct to line. There are bulk parts, you can't either do kitting, not do sequencing, you have to give it in bulk part, direct to line. So those kind of options you can explore. And the parts call-in method, whether you want to go for the Kanban system. Just to elaborate Kanban system, just a replenishment method, like how do we fill our fuel in the motorcycle? Once it goes empty, just we go to petrol bunk and fill it. We don't fill it like on fixed basis. So something like that. And just in time is like when you need a particular part on the line, you get exactly at the same time. It's not before or not later, that kind of concept. Or you can go for the MRP schedules. There are suppliers, you see, as a country, we have suppliers catering parts from 2,400, 2,500 kilometers apart. So definitely you can go for a JIT or the Kanban system. So definitely you have to go for the MRP. That is material resource planning option. So these are the options we have in parts calling in method from the supplier. And again, inventory, whether you want to replenish or you want to work on the forecast method, that kind of thing. And warehouse space, this is pretty interesting. I think day by day, the real estate values are going up, and the manpower cost is also going up. So definitely you have to make a wise use of the resource of space and the manpower. So definitely whether you want to go for horizontal usage of the space or you want to go for the vertical storage, that you have to work it out. And inbound or line hauls, like how do you consolidate, whether you want to go for the dedicated collections or you want to consolidate and bring in smaller trucks to the plant. Because you have limitations inside the plant that you cannot bring in too many trucks inside, because the whole traffic management within the plant will become extremely difficult and annoying. And definitely the material handling. As I said, whether you want to go for the minimal handling of the material or you want to go for the automation of the material handling. Like material handling in the sense, like how do you move material from receiving points to up to the point of consumption. Either you can go for the conveyor system, or you can go for the forklift movement, or you can use the trolleys or whatever. So those are the options, like always we work in combinations of certain thing. So there is no good design or no bad design. So design, we can call a design as good or bad based on the compatibility with each other. So whatever you change you make in one particular area, it will have significant impact on the other areas. So sometimes the failures will happen only when designs are not integrated or not compatible. And the key trends, like as of now, we are witnessing that more and more customers are going towards the variable pricing. Earlier, like we used to go for the cost plus model, but customers prefers, as of now, they want to go for the output based model, like per vehicle or kind of thing. So definitely, which is beneficial for both OEM as well as the 3PL, because we have the challenge to contain the cost in terms of managing our efficiency, and OEMs are protected on the cost parameter. And as you know, the trucks in India is not particularly suited for automobile parts. So because in any automobile parts, it will have a combination of metal, plastic, and forged kind of thing. And majority will be trim parts, like a plastic or sheet metal parts. And definitely, we have to go for the cube utilization in a better way. And more trucks are getting customized. That means whatever chassis you get from the truck manufacturer, you can definitely extend to make a better cube utilization. And definitely this is within the guidelines what is given by the RTO. We cannot go beyond the RTO guidelines. Within guidelines, we can still extend that. And definitely there's the influence of the GPS. See, one is we design the supply chain, and second one is you need to know at any point of time where the particular part is available, and is there going to be any threat to the line and all. So the GPS, we used to have only a GPS where we could track the vehicle or kind of thing, but today the technology has improved to that an extent that any delay running of the vehicle or kind of thing, we get SMS alert in advance so that we can work for the backup plans. And also in addition, we are witnessing a door sensor kind of thing, which is used for high value goods item, like whenever the door is opened, unauthorized locations, we get an SMS so that we can control the part kind of thing. And this is one interesting technology, pick to light system. Here, on the manpower front, the industry is facing shortage of the manpower. So always there's a change in the manpower. Like somebody is working today, he may not turn out tomorrow. So we have to have a mechanism where the jobs are not affected because of the manpower rotation. So in order to that, this is, I told you, kitting. Picking and kitting is a very particular area where you have to really pick a particular part what is exactly required for the particular car. Like, because parts looks alike. You cannot make a visible difference between the LH part or RH part kind of thing. But only with the experience only you will be able to make a difference out of it. So we have difficulty in training the manpower in shortest time. So more and more OEMs are going for the pick to light system. That means once you put, okay, I'm going to produce this particular vehicle, you just press the button and the whole, what are the parts to be picked, the whole thing will light up and you just pick it and close the button kind of thing. So it doesn't need any kind of training or kind of thing, and anyone with the shortest training, we can put them on job. This is one thing which is really witnessing. And the last one is the durable packages. As I told, we have suppliers running from 2,400, 2,500 kilometers distance. Definitely we cannot have a durable in the system. That means like OEM cannot own the durable because it requires the reverse transportation cost. When you bring the material in the durable, you have to transport empty back to the suppliers. So definitely someone has to bear that cost. So what 3PL has come up now is the reverse transportation, the durables will be shared with some other OEMs so that the transportation cost on the reverse is saved and OEM is benefited. And definitely, I think we talked about designs and trends and all, but the key challenge in a good design or accurate design is the sanctity of the data. Like how accurate your data and how reliable, that determines the whole supply chain design. And definitely there's a significant pressure on the cost reduction and we have to meet the cost targets given by the customer. And I told, like we have different buckets, like for any OEM or any this thing. Transportation will be handled by a person, and warehousing will be handled by a person, line feeding will be handled by a different person. So they falls into different departments or so-called buckets. So definitely you have to have some kind of trade-offs. When you do the design selection, you have to have some kind of trade-off. It's very difficult to convince the one or the other guy in the entire supply chain. Like example, if I decide, like I had to bring parts once in a week because that is not substantiating my transportation cost, then the person at the warehouse, he will not agree because he has to hold higher level of inventory in the warehouse. So it's a trade-off. Either you have to go for the high frequency collection, or you have to increase the inventory. So it's difficult to convince either of the stakeholders. These are the challenges which we are facing off. Yep. So that's the whole thing about the logistics design. If you have any questions, we can take it up.
Are you doing this for manufacturers like Ashok Leyland, TVS Motors, everybody, or is it only specific to one particular company?
Which specific aspect? The whole designing aspect?
Yeah, the entire logistics part, which we are talking about.
Yeah, as I told, for few of the customers, we are doing in bits and pieces. Like we are operating only a transportation, or in other customers, we are operating only for the kind of warehousing kind of thing. But what is the greenfield project like? The designing alone, it's a new trend. We just started with few of customers. Yep. Like.
Can you talk about the design simulation and validation? Like what exactly goes on in that process?
Okay. So design simulation, like one is you can simulate the routing, the vehicle routing you can simulate, and you can see that whether the timing in terms of window timing, those kind of thing is sufficient enough. Second one is the loading. How do you load the parts into the truck? So can the truck take this kind of parts, that you can always work it out. And second one is like when you hold the inventory against your collection frequency, does it support your production line? And you have to tweak with your production, like you have to create situations where you change your production plan, like from product X to product Y, all of a sudden with 2 hours notice you change the production plan, and what happens in the supply chain. So those kind of simulation we go through for a new project.
So do you use some kind of a software tool to do
Yeah,
that?
we do use a few of the simulations packages.
Do you do anything to do with sort of the human side of the supply chain in terms of design?
Yeah, definitely. I think on the training portion, what you're talking, the training portion, the software portion, the human side. Okay, one is the core, how does the material moves into the supply chain, that's one aspect, and who are the stakeholders in the supply chain? Like one of the stakeholders, it could be drivers, it could be your loaders who's unloading the parts in the warehouse, it could be somebody who's pushing the car to the line. So definitely training will be part of the bigger aspect of the HR management that will be considered within here.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so there is an SMS from
great.
one of our colleague. His name is Sudhir Rao.
Okay.
So his question is, with internet and mobile technology, how has the field of logistics changed?
Speed of logistics.
Yes. How has the field of logistics changed? Logistics
Field of logistics. Definitely, I think with internet and all, I think as I told, like the GPS, it's more or less like the web-based thing where you can go with handheld device to the supplier, you can update online. The transactions can be updated online, and that's information available to the buyer sitting at the plant, right, on real-time basis. So definitely it has given more visibility into the supply chain. So one is visibility has certainly has improved, and which has indirectly helped us to work with lower level of inventory or higher efficiency levels in the supply chain.
I have one here from Kumar.S. How effective is co-locating your supply chain, like what Tata has done in Sanand or Singur for
Okay.
Nano?
I think majority of the bigger automakers, they always have their plant and a kind of supplier park located. The supplier parts will cater the bigger part, like as I told, like a bigger part which you cannot kit it or kind of thing, like frame. It could be like a frame or exhaust manifold or IP panel. Those kind of part definitely will be supplied from the supplier park, which is located very close to the plant. Otherwise, the whole logistic cost will go out of the roof. Yep.
Is there any restriction or how does this thing work?
Actually, you have different storage structures. Like you have a storage structure where you can have approximately some 30 to 40 parts, put it in particular locations, and each this thing will have one master kind of thing, master button. So to answer your question, each pick-to-light system will have a maximum 30 to 40 part numbers, but at a time you will be picking not more than 10 parts from that particular section, and it will be joined next to each other. Yep, yep. Yeah, there are. You have to break it into smaller portions, and you can always categorize the parts based on some codes, and you can do that.
Hi Satish, I'm
Hi.
Srinivas. Actually. I have a general question on the efficiency trend of the logistics
Yep.
industry as such.
Yep.
Like, where are we standing in terms of your company and in the industry segment? So the efficiency is this, like say you have this your resources and how they are utilized in terms of meeting up the lines basically.
Yeah, I think there are two portions to the efficiency. One is on the transportation portion, second one is the warehouse portion. Definitely, the supply chain efficiency is one of the parameters which with a 3PL will be measured. In transportation, definitely the cube utilization, like how much cube you are engaging, like how much capacity you have engaged against with how much cube you are bringing in. So that kind of efficiency checks are made. I mean, it's part of the contracts. So I think it depends. For line haul, it's a different efficiency. If it's a smaller milk run routing, it's a different kind of efficiency, like some 70% for the kind of thing local, and for line haul, it should be 85% plus kind of thing.
So just another question linked to that basically.
Yeah.
So what is the typical reuse factor that you would be using? Like say I have a shipment or I have a destination consignment assigned, and in the reverse way, like you integrate with those different suppliers to make it more efficient in turn, or so how does it work?
Reverse transportation.
Yeah, in terms of reusing multiple source packages.
Yeah, actually these assets will be owned by the 3PL, and every asset, I think normally any trolley or the thing which goes for 3 years to 5 years life cycle, and within that life cycle how many time you can rotate, that depends on your transit time and all, but normally it has 3 to 5 years lifetime.
Availability of manpower and problems related to that.
Yep.
Say, on that note, how far is warehouse management automated in India? Warehouse management, all those operations, like say, how far is it automated?
I think I would say in India the warehouse are not automated to the extent it was supposed to be. It is not automated except barring few industries, and especially automotive industry, it is not automated to that extent. Example, still the parts are moved using the metal handling equipments like forklifts or manual kind of thing. Still, maybe that applies to more of FMCG products, where you have the conveyor system, because the process all set. But in automotive, it is not like that. You will have different combination of parts where you cannot fix up a particular path for a particular part. So you have to live with this kind of intermediary solutions as of now.
Do we see any improvement on that in future, in the sense, like say, wherein we can find more automation in, say, not only in automotive, in like say other industries?
Yeah, I think on the warehouse portion, like aftermarket parts and all, we have, like ASRS system, or a kind of, like you have automated solution where you don't need people to pick the parts. It can be picked using the machines. So they're available.
Actually, in this very building itself, there is a technology company which specializes in voice picking. The thing is that there is actually, when you talk, it can be deciphered into about 6 or 7 languages within the system. So supposing I take this equipment to Hosur, to Bangalore, I can talk in Kannada, but still you can still understand. So there is a deciphering thing also which happens, and we are actually going to try that also. So that the picking efficiency, see, in any warehouse, the picking efficiency is something which is rated, and that's where people look at you as somebody who is very good in warehousing. And the same way, like I said, when you talk about transportation, being from a transportation background, TVS Logistics places about 2,500 vehicles pan-India on a single day. And we carry around, inventory would be about 1,000 crores on any single day if you measure. So when you talk about this and all this, we are a non-asset based company. So the challenges are very heavy, and like I said, there's a lot of technology which is coming into it, and the demand from many of them is increasing day by day. So automation is the thing, but how far we are going to take automation and how much of money that is going to be involved is very much important, because everybody wants, if you look at logistics is a waste. If you take any company, there is a lot of, they have their own supplier parks and things like that, and they want to move the material inside fast. But in that, doing it efficiently and designing, that is where you excel and try to do better than others. You add the value system there.
On a similar note, I'm just asking, do you use RFID technologies and all to make it much faster?
Yeah, RFID technology itself is interesting, but so far it has not found its regular use in the automotive industry as such. But it's a very interesting technology. I think going forward, there's huge scope for it, RFID. One is the tag expense, and also the how do we manage the RFID? Like once it gets into the plant, so you have to kill that RFID this thing. Suppose it misses through one of the checks, then whole your the system become irrelevant. Like the whole stocks will go for this thing, task.
Interesting aspects from KM perspective, like the pick to light system, which gives information to the picker and then you can easily pick up. You also talked about the sensors and doors where, when there's an action there, it gives you alerts. So a lot of information is being transmitted.
Yes.
So, which means in the whole logistics framework, I see like more things are deterministic in nature. That is, which means you already know what you're going to do, you're planning everything, executing it. Which means, is there any scope for uncertainties or errors which can occur?
Yeah, definitely. You have 10 different buckets. So any change in one of the bucket can take the whole thing, this thing. One is, as you said, the transportation. Like you can still work out the transit time, what the transit time, all those things. But one political function or one of the traffic jams en route can, jeopardize whole the supply chain plan. And similarly, one of the rejection from the supplier parts can take your production for a task. So these are there are uncertainties. Like still we try to address it with minimal impact on the overall logistic cost, but still, yeah, there's impact. Yeah, yeah.